Hochstein recently stated that an end to the war is within our grasp. How do you assess the chances for a ceasefire in the near future?
Good evening to you and to all listeners and viewers of Qnews. Thank you for inviting me. Of course,
Thank you to have you.
every Lebanese living those massacres and the mass destructions that we are seeing on daily basis and even on hourly basis would welcome a ceasefire as soon as possible. However, having said that, we noticed that the talks or what do we call it? The press conference that Amos Hochstein held after the meeting with the officials in Lebanon was very general, and he was talking on general terms that it is within the means of the grasp, it is possible, and the discussions need to continue, and and more alike words and sentences, which means that it's going to take time before any deal is really confirmed. And at the same time, we noticed or we heard Netanyahu saying that while those discussions are taking place, he would not stop bombing and striking Lebanon, and he said that all of these talks and discussions are going to happen under fire, and this is exactly what happened today. Netanyahu did not stop striking lots of places in Lebanon, and we heard also.
Ms. Najat, may I ask you please why I feel that your narrative is very pessimistic?
My narrative is probably more realistic because I see that those discussions, until an agreement is reached, are going to take time. And while we are hoping that those discussions would be accelerated in order to reach a ceasefire, we understand from Netanyahu that he's going to continue bombing and striking Lebanon while also pushing his boots on the ground. So we see that the agony and the pain and the massacres and the destructions are not going to stop while the discussion is happening. So it's not at all pessimistic. We would want the ceasefire as soon as possible, but I am being very realistic in the way I read Amos's speeches and also Netanyahu's speeches yesterday.
All respect, the United States has been mediating a truce, and Lebanon has shown a positive view of the ceasefire plan. How do you think this plan aligns with Lebanon's interests, and what specific points need to be addressed before it can be fully implemented?
That's a very important question, and unfortunately, all the discussions are being held secretly, and it's not shared with the members of the parliament, and that's why we have been raising our voices that this should not be happening. We would like to take part of the discussion, especially that, like you said,
why do you think it's being secretive?
That's what we're asking. We're asking that those discussions will not be secretive. At least, the members of the parliaments are engaged and take part of these discussions, especially that there are concerns that the sovereignty of Lebanon is being compromised. And this is our major concern. We would like to make sure that the sovereignty of the state of Lebanon is protected, and it is being held very, very high in the discussion.
Okay, as the war escalates, over 3,500 people have been killed in Lebanon already. With that in mind, how can we ensure that future negotiations taken into account the humanitarian crisis caused by this conflict?
Of course, we are living the humanitarian crisis as we speak, because in addition to the 3,500 people who have been killed, we have over 1 million people who are displaced and are living in shelters. So that's why the ceasefire is imminent, and it is really very, very crucial that we expedite the process as long as the sovereignty of the country is not compromised. So not in addition to all of that, we also have the destruction of the country that is putting a huge burden on the Lebanese people. So we have several layers of disasters that we have to deal with the day after. But in the meantime, there is a need to involve everybody in the negotiations and in the discussion, so that all parties of Lebanon and the whole population of Lebanon is being represented in those negotiations that are so crucial and so important for the future of Lebanon.
Okay, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stated that Israel will continue military operations against Hezbollah even if a ceasefire is reached. How does Lebanon view these statements, and does this promise compromise any chance of a lasting peace?
Exactly, and those statements are very dangerous. They
Very
are
dangerous, yeah, and very
right.
unacceptable at this time of the war and the genocides and atrocities that are taking place.
They are very dangerous, and they are just showing how arrogant and how Netanyahu is a mass killer who does not respect any treaty and does not respect any decision taken by countries or by the United Nations. And that's why it is of utmost importance that we align our positions inside Lebanon and also along our allies in the Arab world and in the international community. This is extremely important that we stand together in order to face this genocide and those mass killings.
Promise to stand together, and of course I need more time to spend with you and discuss this very important topic taking place, of course, in the Middle East nowadays. That was Najat Aoun Saliba, Lebanese parliament member. Thank you so much for your informative and knowledge and your insight.